For all of us, there are always our own little personal enjoyments with newer stuff that is released and newer stuff that comes out. And we always feel like if we ever want to share to the world that we enjoy stuff, we let people know, hey, I like this and this was nice for me. So for this ACN Clear, I'm going to talk about why you should defend being able to enjoy what you personally like at heart and not thinking that just because the internet is bashing something, mostly on YouTube, from what I'm going to say in these examples, is something that you should ever have to feel like you convince yourself over for. And the biggest example that I want to mention that I've personally noticed is the hate for any newer Spider-Man suit that comes out in media. You could assume that I'm talking about the suit that is in the newer movie that's coming out. But no, that's not what it is here. What I'm actually talking about is Marvel Telecon, the new fighting game, and how people think that Spider-Man just looks ugly in there. I have seen how specifically the Spider-Man channels, the channels dedicated to Spider-Man, are the ones sharing that you should not enjoy this design and this look because to them it looks ugly. And to me, personally, I think the suit looks really cool. I think the design and the style, the art style looks really cool. It reminds me of My Hero Academia. It reminds me of how Spider-Man would look if he was in My Hero Academia. And he looks very like energetic, well, expressive in that style and stuff. You could see all of the designs that went in. Sure, Iron Man is inspired by a Gundam design, but like you got all of this extra stuff that has never really been done before, probably in certain comics. I'm not sure where they're taking it from. But I mean, you gotta enjoy it for what it is. If you enjoy it, you think it's cool, you can like it. And you know, a lot of people are saying that they don't like this whole Spider-Man design because they think it just looks weird. That's the Spider-Man fans talking. If you're not really that in depth with it, or really not that deep in, why do you have to care? It's your own little enjoyment. You should be able to enjoy what you see. Sure, for me, if we're talking about the Spider-Man movies, I don't personally like what's been recently going on with how it takes this long for Spider-Man to actually get his actual faithful stuff being done in these movies up until the fourth movie taking that long. But I don't have to freaking feel like I'm going to be telling people, hey, this is my opinion, you should believe it too, just because this is what I delve into and I'm a Spider-Man channel. That's actually one of the things I've seen floating around a lot. And it's his freaking design that can split anybody if they see it, but it's up to you. Do you enjoy what Spider-Man looks like, or do you not? You just want to let people know, hey, you should hate this because I hate this, I guess, in terms of what people have been saying and tossing around everywhere. My second example for me is something that I haven't really seen people really defending that much, just because I feel like it hasn't been more unspoken or less spoken in smaller areas of the internet where you're free to just share if you feel like this was fun. But for me, when it comes to movies and what is kind of been more towards like fan based stuff and appeasing audiences in fandoms, I actually kind of enjoyed Transformers Rise of the Beast. It was a story where they set up the Transformers of the new generation after Bumblebee, that the villains weren't just going to be starting out with the Decepticons. They were going to build up to the Decepticons after one movie. In the first movie, they don't even have the Decepticons. I actually like that actual change. I actually like that they show more of the in-depth story details and stuff of why some of that stuff doesn't really need to be done in the same direction, and maybe they want to change stuff up a bit. But at the same time, this was actually a really interesting adaptation of showing off the Autobots and what they can do compared to previous movies under a different direction. I actually like what was being done, and not too many people talk about how this is actually a really decent movie. If you're younger, probably, then you actually enjoyed it. If you're older, you hate on it, is what I've been seeing. The main thing I've been seeing is the end with the G.I. Joe detail being in the same universe. And I like that, actually. I actually think that's really cool. I feel like it can be pulled off well for all audiences. Sure, it sells toys or something, or is what people have been saying, but when it comes to like what appeases to kids in movies that everybody can go and watch. But I think it'd be cool to see what they could do with the Transformers allying with, characters from G.I. Joe and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, an operation or something, and both fighting as Decepticons, maybe, stuff like that. Besides the weird, like, joke, racist line about racism or whatever from the Chilean Autobot, which was the one thing I didn't like in that movie. Everything else about the movie was pretty cool, and I actually liked how they showed off a lot of the things about what makes the Transformers be adapted well across movies. Like it's a thing that's really cool to me, and I feel like when it comes to movies that are being bashed just because they're trying something new, people don't get to speak their opinion about it everywhere else if it's being mass hated by like people who expected better because they're older and they've been through better times where they expected stuff to come back to form for what they know. And I feel like this is something that I don't really care about, and I just want to enjoy what they're doing new. I really don't mind it. And this next example is something related to music. So, what I have personally enjoyed in music is basically all around. I have a lot of different genres I enjoy, and I can't really pinpoint what the style of music is here. But for the longest time, I've really enjoyed an artist named J. Paul. He's more obscure, and his style is more unique, is what I'd say. And in terms of unique sounds and stuff, he's been one of the people that I've enjoyed a lot because it's your own little enjoyment where you want to express yourself with but also get to share to other people when you have the chance. It's really fun to get into that. But recently I discovered another artist I started to enjoy named Ben Khan. And when I started looking at what other people thought of Ben Khan, I started thinking about how his music does sound like it could be a little bit similar to J. Paul's. So when I did look on the J. Paul subreddit, since I look there sometimes, I looked around and saw, has anybody mentioned Ben Khan here? And once I looked around to see if people did mention Ben Khan, they're starting to say posts of saying, you should not like Ben Khan because he's like a ripping off J. Paul style. He's like a wannabe, a ripoff, this and that. And this is also from a time where I looked at comments where other people were saying that supposedly Ben Khan actually did interviews where he probably said that it was his music had inspiration from J. Paul. And that's the thing, that some people will take something so literally or so heavily and push them onto other people to say, hey, like you shouldn't enjoy this because this sounds like it is something that is trying to be something that another person has done, this and that. And because I actually don't mind the fact that some people can take inspiration from other artists' styles and make their own style, or have a similar style, or be in the same genre of music because of that, I feel like it's fine. I feel like it's cool, and I feel like I'll enjoy it for myself. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. It feels really nice. And that's the thing about what some people try and push out in opinions is they'll try and let you know that something doesn't sound as good as it's made out to be because they want you to see something more truthful or believable, and then it's up to you if you feel like you should go with them. Honestly, stuff like that. This is one of the things that I feel like is less possible to fall into, but it makes sense why it would happen so rarely. And it's still surprising about how this stuff even comes out with dedicated fan bases. I mean, that stuff happens, but this is all based around fan bases and different things from different areas and corners of the online web. So it comes around to you as a surprise when it does. But that's only because you get to see what other people are thinking and you're like, do I want to follow this or not? And yeah, it's based on influence as well, everything. So that's how it seems to me. Because it makes sense to be opening your mouth, not just opening your eyes, but opening your mouth to a lot of this stuff. Because you should be able to form your own opinion and not always follow what others are saying, especially with what you want to enjoy. Because I like people being able to have their own little interests and things that they define as their own. For me, I've been doing that for the longest time when I was a teenager, and it felt so nice, and I don't want anybody to ever take that away from me. And I don't want to make myself take that away from myself just to feel like I want to feel better about following what other people follow. Because you should just do your own thing. You can let me know in the comments what do you want me to cover next, and I will gladly look into them and see what I think about them. And if you're new here, sub to the channel, follow the Twitch, and be sure to become a larger part of the community by joining the Discord. Thank you for enjoying this segment of ACN Clear, and until the next one, ACN, we up.